Get started here. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today we have I don't think it's we're not going to do a quarterly anymore. Probably more like 2 or 3 times this year. Tech call with Matt Den Hartog from the home office. Before we kick it over to Matt, though, I did want to allow Josh Cesare from our team. He's going to speak. He's going to talk about a few things he's using on the retirement plan side of things. Josh is working with, I think, 6 or 7 advisors in the group right now. Doing some really good work, especially on pricing. But now we have some software that we think can really be helpful with the employer and at the participant level. So Josh is going to share some tidbits about those 2 things, and then Alex from Jump AI is going to do a little 5 to 10 minute refresher on how Jump can incorporate into your practice and make your life a whole lot easier. We're using it here and love it. And hopefully maybe everyone on the call will give it a second look if you're not using a note taker at this point. So with that, I will turn it over to Josh Cesare to go over FI360 and Savology. Go ahead, Josh.
All right, thanks, Sebastian. Everybody can hear me okay? Good? Okay, good. Yeah, so thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, so we signed up for 2 different technology things at the start of the year. First one I'll talk about is FI360. Some of you I'm sure you guys have already heard of that, but we're already using it now for some of our plans. But it can also be a really effective prospecting tool. So if you have an existing prospect that has a 401k plan, if you can get me their plan statement, I can do a side-by-side comparison of their current funds versus their existing funds. But Cambridge has a discount with FI360, so we signed up for it to use it for our retirement plans mainly. It can do, like I said, it's really it provides an investment policy statement. It helps us with the selection and monitoring of investments, both mutual funds, CITs, ETFs, all that stuff are available. So like I said, we plan on using it for our retirement plans to when we're acting as a fiduciary to provide an investment policy statement, also for the selection and monitoring of the funds. It also, like I said, is good for prospecting, where if you can get your hands on an existing lineup, I can run the funds through FI360. Hopefully we see a bunch of red and yellow, which means the funds are on warning or remove. That means the current advisor is asleep at the wheel, and then it will give us the opportunity to win that business. So it can also, again, be used as a prospecting tool. I used it a lot in my previous role as a wholesaler. So again, we have access to it internally that we can use it for you guys, or you guys could sign up for FI360 directly, again, with Cambridge's discount. The other software I want to talk, or the other thing that we signed up for that we're going to be using for our participants in our 401k plans, is something called Savology. Again, Cambridge also has a discount for that as well. It's going to be an excellent tool that we're going to use. It basically, the participants, and you can also use it for individual wealth as well, for maybe your younger clients, or maybe children of some of your clients that are just starting out. It basically, the clients go into Savology, they answer a questionnaire, and they basically get their own financial plan. It'll show them if they're on track for the retirement goal. It'll show them if they have enough life insurance. It asks them about estate planning documents. Those are just yes or no questions. It asks about disability insurance, long-term care. It's really a nice tool that we're already using in some of our plans, and we're also using for some of our prospects that are younger. And like I said, it's a great tool. They get their own financial plan, they have their own username or password, but then we have access to it, so we can see, like, okay, John Smith says he has an outside IRA of $500,000. We could then call John Smith and say, hey, John, we noticed you have a $500,000 IRA. We can help you with that, or who's managing that for you. So it also can be a nice little prospecting tool as well. Same for life insurance. So again, we primarily are going to be using it for participants in our 401k plans and 403b and 457 plans, but it can also be used as a tool for some of your clients that are maybe younger, or that have or what are those guys called, Sebastian, Henrys, high income earners. So I think it can also be for Henrys as well. And it's a nice tool that you guys can use as well, called Savology. If you want to follow up with me, happy to send you the links. I also have an example of an FI360 side-by-side comparison that I did for a plan that I just took over. So I can show you examples of both of those if you want to reach out to me to talk about more about FI360 and Savology. So that's it, Sebastian. Anything else you want me to cover?
That's it. Thank you, Josh. All
You got
right,
it, buddy.
moving along. We'll kick it over to Alex from Jump AI. Alex, thanks for joining us today. And yeah, please feel free to take 5 to 10 minutes here before we turn it over to Matt from Cambridge just to talk about Jump and how it can help advisors on the call.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks, Josh and Sebastian. I've got like 5 or 10 minutes here, so I'll zoom through it, and if anybody wants to see it in more detail, happy to discuss with you. I'll start by sharing a couple slides. The origin story of Jump, if you don't already know it, is that our co-founders are repeat entrepreneurs. Both of them have started, built, sold companies. This was venture number 2 for them. Jump started in 2023, and for the first year, just kind of looking for our footing. We weren't advisor specific, really just trying to go help sales teams get their notes into Salesforce is where it started. Our CEO, his best friend, his brother, and his brother-in-law are all financial advisors. So they had convinced him to niche down specifically to advisors because their feelings were, hey, AI is here, but it's not for us yet. No one's built it to have advisor quality notes or protect my client data or anything like that. So we did niche down, and we have just exploded since then. The exact quote that we got was, putting notes into Redtail is the bane of my existence. And so we knew there was some pain there for us to solve. Some of the other things that we heard from firms was, hey, I want to show up prepared for my client meetings. I don't have to go thumb through all my CRM notes or what I've written down on a piece of paper. I also want to be 100% present with my clients. I don't want to have to, juggle looking them in the eye as I'm investing their life savings and taking great compliant notes. It's a regulated industry and you got to take those good notes. But really, mostly, hey, it just takes way too long post meeting to take the notes, transcribe them into the CRM, get the tasks in there, get the emails out. It's just a huge time suck. And we have seen firms try hiring for that by using dictation services that are getting outdated. And then generic AI has been great, but what most people feel like is, hey, the first 5 or 10 times, it feels like magic when you're using AI to transcribe a meeting. And then after that, it kind of gets annoying that you've got to massage the outputs of these other more general tools pretty significantly to match, again, an advisor quality note. So that is why Jump exists. We want to cut your admin time by 90% while elevating the client and advisor experience. So we're only made for advisors. We're super easy to set up, and we're customizable too. So what I'll show you this morning is all out of the box functionality. This is what it looks like the first time you use it. Secure compliant, happy to talk about that. Probably don't have the time this morning. And then we work with your software. So I'm going to switch over here to our integrations page. We integrate with all the major CRMs. Advise On should be done this week. Advisor Engine is right behind it. But if you use Salesforce, Wealthbox, or Redtail, like most advisors, you're good to go. We'll integrate with however you do your meetings and some VoIP systems as well. And then your calendar integration, I think, is arguably the most important one because that shows Jump which meetings to go and attend. So what Jump does, Jump is AI for meeting related admin work. So it's going to help you prep for meetings. It's going to take the notes for you. It's going to help you get the notes into your CRM and assign tasks to yourself or to others in your CRM, all in a few minutes instead of taking, again, 50 minutes post meeting to get all this done. One of the things that we can help you with is pre-meeting prep. So here's an example of what one might look like. We integrate with your calendar and we integrate with your CRM. So here's Pedro Lopez. It'll prep you for this meeting by giving you the one-pager, client goals, what matters to them, upcoming life events. Again, this is our out-of-the-box template. An advisor favorite is definitely suggested conversation starters. If Pedro told you he took his kids to Disneyland last meeting, it's going to suggest to you, hey, you should ask him how that trip went. And those nice things that get the meeting off on a nice personal note. But the down the fairway use case of Jump, again, is to sit in a meeting, whether it's an in-person, whether it's a phone call, or whether it's a virtual meeting. Here's an LPL 450 I put in for yesterday. Scroll down a little bit. There you go. Sit in a meeting and take great notes. Now, as you can see, this is pretty detailed. This is me pretending to be an advisor for 7 minutes with my friend. So this note is based off a 7-minute conversation. Starts off with more of a narrative discussion of, how the meeting went beginning to end. And then we break it down into, hey, what was personally important to this person? What questions did I ask and what answers did he give? What recommendations did I share with them? Did we discuss service and fees, outcomes, next steps, to-dos? And then really where we separate ourselves from the pack is how we capture and list financial planning data, as well as anything that might affect your recommendation from a fiduciary or suitability standpoint. Other systems will just summarize all this. They're not looking to list it for you, where we know how important it is for you to have all this in one spot. A common question I get is, hey, do I have to say trigger words here? Or do I have to speak at any sort of script to make this work? Just have a human conversation. The AI behind the scenes is intelligent enough to put it back together in this order. Once that is done, you can hit the edit button and you can edit any note that we take. This is not going to skip you, the human in the loop. It is not going to go to your CRM at all without you at first seeing it, approving it, and getting it out there. But once you are happy with that note, you hit review and sync, tie it to whatever record or records over at your CRM, and hit the sync button. So again, 3-4 minutes after your meeting is concluded, you can have a very detailed note in your CRM. We'll also help you write the follow-up email. This is a really short one that is specifically in my account for follow-ups to current clients. But if you have your own formatted email that you like better, we can adopt that. But you just take a look at it, hit copy, hit paste, send it out. And then lastly, our tasks. So tasks that we hear that came up as things that need to be completed, Jump creates them. So Jump created the due date, the title, the description. It can assign it to somebody else in your org. All you're doing is tying it to the right record at your CRM and sending it off. If your firm uses workflows, you can use Jump to trigger those workflows as well. And then for the sake of time, I'll just breeze through these other 2 things. So we've got Ask Anything, which is basically like Chat GPT for your meetings. I asked it, hey, explain this note that you took right here. He recently freed up some income by paying off certain debts. So it shows me the exact quote and the timestamp of when that happened. And if you click on that link, it'll bring you to that part of the meeting. If it was a recorded, Teams or Zoom, if it was recorded via like your phone for an in-person meeting, it would just be the audio file, but you could see that. I also asked it, what's his job or what are his goals? And it just took, a second for it to spit this answer out for me. Lastly, the analytics. So it'll track things for sentiment, talk time, keyword tracking. So if, we see a lot of firms put guarantee or promise in here to make sure that it's not mentioned. But you're in control of the things that we're tracking here as well. That's pretty much it in a 5 or 10 minute version of this. Cambridge does have a 10% discount. Normally it's $1,200 a year for a full license, meaning, hey, I'm going to use this and I need Jump to join my meetings. We also have light licenses for admin that are normally $300 or $270 for Cambridge advisors.
I just want to say something real quick about this.
Sure.
To those of you on the call who hate getting those emails from the home office where they're doing a fiduciary review and they want all your notes and all your documentation, and sometimes people drag their feet and then they start getting nasty grams about it or what they provided isn't enough. This is a big answer to that question and that problem and that irritation you have. So you really need to think about doing something like this in your office. It's going to make your life a lot easier.
Well said. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Alex. And yes, as I said earlier in the call, we are using this at Premier, and the time saving, it's more, the fee is, ridiculously low in my opinion for the time savings that you're gonna get out of it. So thank you for presenting, Alex. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
If anybody has any interest in working with them, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to connect you with Alex or Matt, who's been helping us previously. So just let us know on that.
Thank you,
and with
guys.
that, you got it. With that, we'll turn it over to the main event. We have Matt and Hartog from Cambridge. Many of you on the call in the past have probably spoken with Jim Silvers at Cambridge. Matt works right alongside Jim, and Matt is going to cover a whole host of different tools that Cambridge advisors are using in 2025 to help, streamline and grow their practice. So Matt, we're, already cutting into your time here, but go ahead, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you, Sebastian. So I know I've talked to Sebastian a little bit before this, and there are some tools that a lot of offices are using to streamline. I'm going to break this down into a few of the kind of, I would say, main categories that we're seeing be really, really popular right now. Things like scheduling tools, data gathering, and then one of the popular ones that we've seen a lot recently is estate planning tools. Really getting your clients to make sure they have those documents in place, whether it be that trust or that will document, where those are generally something that you can't do without worrying about that legal advice issue. So we'll talk about those as well. Kind of starting off, really one of the big ones I'm going to start with here, and let me go ahead and share my screen, is going to be some of the scheduling tool options that we have available for you. So scheduling tools can save you a lot of time with playing phone tag or email tag with your clients, just trying to get something on the books or having to constantly reach out. There's a few different ones that we really see people starting to utilize. So I have 3 different ones pulled up here. They all have a little bit different feature set, but they do generally that same thing of getting that meeting on the calendar for you. The one I have right here is G Reminders, pulled up first. G Reminders is really made for that client follow-up. Their main purpose and the reason they went with reminders is one of their main things is whether it is scheduled through G Reminders or just on your calendar, it will also pull other meetings scheduled and give you the ability for email or text message reminders to your clients. So they really jump into that notification type system as well as the scheduling tool. Where if you might have gotten a text message from your doctor's office confirming that appointment, it's going to do the same thing for you. You can set up your different client reminders. You can set it to remind you personally through text message. It's all going to pull together from a general scheduling link to your client. You can set it up here with your branding. You can have different meeting types here. I just have one in my example. But then it's going to go and it's going to look at your calendar for what times you're available. You're going to be able to set the time frame they can schedule out. So if you only want them to be able to schedule a week in advance or a month, all of these tools are going to let you really control how far or how close to the current day they can schedule. So we can see here for mine, I'm busy this week. I don't have any availability, but it's not letting them schedule any of the little bit of free time I have today. So I make it at least a day in advance so I have time to prepare for those meetings. But then if we look out at next week, there's a lot of availability there. So it gives you that. You send a link to your client, whether it's in an email asking them to schedule, part of your email signature, even linked to your website, and you can have those different meetings. With G Reminders, as I mentioned, one of their big things is setting up those reminders. So with the reminders, they can be set up for when do you want them to go out. So timing immediately when it's scheduled, 5 minutes before, hour, 24 hours before. And then you get to set up that body, that context of the message. You can set up auto replies if the customer says yes or no. Things like the auto reply yes, you can say, great, happy to see you, and have it fill in the meeting time and date. Or if they say no, you can have it automatically send the link out for the rescheduling. Say, please reschedule at the time that works at your convenience. Those are some of the benefits of G Reminders. If you're looking for something a little bit more simple on a scheduling tool, Calendly really is going to be the kind of simple, straight to the point scheduling tool that's out there. It gives you the ability to set up meeting types. I just have the free version of Calendly. It allows for one meeting type. So if you only need one, there is a free option out there. And it's going to look very similar. The scheduling page is going to pull up the different times that are available for you. You can, again, set up that time frame, how long the meetings are, even what you're looking at. So if you're looking at every hour block or every 15 minutes, really breaking that down. And then one of the last ones I have here is going to be, in my opinion, it's not the best looking one. There's a lot of things you can't customize on here. Like this banner is really just the options from Microsoft. But if you want a cheap alternative and you're already using the Microsoft Office suite, Bookings is included with the Office Business subscriptions. So it is an included scheduling tool that you may already have access to depending on your subscription. You can come in here and you can set up that meeting of how you want that to be able to be scheduled. So some different options there for you on the scheduling tool side. A lot of them are very similar. It just really comes down to what are you looking for in the additional feature sets. Kind of jumping in on where Alex left off with Jump. If you're not entirely sure on the AI note-taking tools, you're not sold on Jump, you want a little bit more of a simple one, G-Reminders does have one built in as an add-on feature. So they do have an AI note taker that is part of this as well. Like I said, it is a more general kind of breakdown. It's not all of the specifics that Jump has, but it would give you some of that intro to AI. And their pricing is a little bit different. They don't price per year for the AI tool. They price per meeting. So if you wanted a scheduling tool, but you wanted to test out the AI features, I believe it is like $2.50 per meeting. So it gives you kind of that, you can try it out for some meetings and then decide later if you want to go with the Jump, but it still gives you that, what time savings can you have from an AI tool, all in one. Moving on to one of the other tools that we see a lot of use for, data gathering. My recommendation really is going to be Precise FP as kind of that top name out there. Right here, I just have a preview pulled up of a questionnaire. It allows you to go through, you send this link out to your client, and it allows them to fill out their information when they're at home. They have access to all of their documents. So you're not sitting in a meeting going through a whole list of questions just trying to gather information. So you can send this out, personal details, name, address, email, phone numbers, driver's license information. You can also ask them about their family members, so children, other family members. As they go through here, it just has one box by default, but they can click add more. So if they have 5 children, they can add them all. Insurance values. This fact finder is just a default. It is one that Precise FP has built specifically to fill as many of the data points in Redtail as possible. So Redtail has places to store insurance information. It can pull that. 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, anything that they have existing. Other assets, bank accounts, taxables, CDs, liabilities. And then when they click finish, this custom page here, it just says thank you for taking the time to complete it. It can have your information here. The other thing I have seen people do with this, kind of streamlining that whole new client process, is they'll have clients they'll send this to, and then you can actually put a link to your scheduling tool on this final page. So when they're done, you can say, please schedule a follow-up meeting with me, and send them right to a link for a specific meeting type to schedule that meeting after they've submitted all that information. This information is also stored in this system. So we can come in here and we can view all of the information on this client profile. We can also sync it all to our CRM. Some of our financial planning tools have integrations with it. Different options for you. And it pulls out information. We can see what's filled out. We can see what they haven't filled out yet. So we can see here, children, we have no results. We haven't entered any children. But it gives you that ability to see that.
Hey, Matt, quick question. You mentioned, I
Yes.
saw that in the latest CIR announcements that Precise FP now integrates with CLIC Advisor. So if an advisor sends this link to a prospect and they fill it out, they add all their social, their date of birth, all that stuff that CLIC requires. I know it integrates with CLIC Advisor. Will that information also feed into CLIC and basically start that process as well?
Not right now.
Okay.
I know our technology team is working on looking into Precise FP and how we can integrate that directly with the paperwork system. I know we've put out there some different times about the things we're working on for updates to the paperwork process, and that's kind of the first step in getting there. We're updating that process, and then once that process is updated, we're looking at how can Precise FP tie into that new updated paperwork process. So not right now. I'm hoping by the end of the year we'll have some templates and things out there for direct into paperwork.
Got it. Okay, so you kind of touched on my next question is an advisor, when they get into Precise FP, do they have to build all their own templates or do they have like preloaded ones that you could essentially use?
So they have some preloaded ones. So they have an e-money fact finder, red tail, asset map. All of these fact finders I have here are all just ones that I can go out to their web publish section and I can search here. So if I wanted wealth box, and it's not showing me what I want, of course. Okay, got to go to the right place. So if I wanted wealth box, for an example, it has a wealth box household structure. So they have their form library. These are all published. You can just come out here and download whatever you want. Income Lab, Holista Plan, Right Capital, and you just on these, let's say I want the Right Capital one. I just click Install Template, and now that will show up in my template list. And with all of these, you can also come out here and create your own just from scratch. But if I look at the preview for this Right Capital one, it's going to go through. Actually, let me go through the customize. Might be a little bit easier to see. So with the customize, we have our starting thing here. When we go to the next, the contact details, you're going to have options of how you want to gather. So if you want to add information, we have different pages here. We can also change the theme. So if you wanted it to be your branding colors, you can also just come here and click new group. It will ask you what you want for information. So if I just add a test group here, and now that new group, I can click and I have all the different elements I can add to that. So if I wanted to add additional addresses, percentage questions, dates, years, you can even have encrypted fields on here. So things like phone number, or not phone numbers, social security numbers, things like that are important to keep safe. What you can actually do is have those as encrypted fields, and it will require them to authenticate that they are who they are before it will let them view that page or enter that information. The other piece to this is when you send out a questionnaire to a client that you already have information for. So if I were to send another questionnaire to myself, any of this information that is already filled out, so phone numbers, email address, address, it's going to show up in there already filled out and allow them to update that information if it has changed. So this isn't just new clients. It can be for updating information on an annual review. Has your address, phone number changed? Has your employment information changed? So you could have that new client questionnaire and you could have an information update questionnaire on just sending out the information that may have changed. Some of the other ones they have that go a little bit different on these, their risk tolerance. So there is a risk tolerance questionnaire. So if you're using something like Riskalyze now, the risk tolerance questionnaire can actually give you a similar risk calculation through a more questionnaire style approach than going through the full Riskalyze or like nitrogen algorithm that they have. It just gives you a more simplified version of that. I've even seen people use this for gathering information on client events. What hobbies do their clients have? How far are they willing to travel? What days of the week work best for them? Just general information like that that maybe isn't specific to the client record, but something you want to gather a overall survey of your clients on. Some of the other tools I mentioned, estate planning tools. Out on our business management resources page, so under resources and business management resources, you'll find all of the discounts we have available at Cambridge. Under the specialized planning section, there is a section for tax and estate. And we have quite a few new tax and estate planning tools, mainly on the estate side, that we've added within the last year to our discount program. So we have Encore Estate, FP Alpha, that are two that are focused on not just building new documents, but have full systems or tools within them to review existing documents for you. Kind of on that simplified automated review. We have Trust and Will that is on that getting documents created. You can charge for it as part of your financial planning fee, or you can pass that charge off to your clients. It is a per document fee. And then we have wealth.com, and one that I haven't got added to this page yet, it's been submitted, is Vanilla. Wealth.com and Vanilla are kind of the top end of that estate planning section. They are a per advisor subscription cost, no cost per document solution. So you can provide it to all of your clients, and they go through everything from review of existing to full document creation, even to some additional costs if you have special scenarios. So we just had a call with Vanilla the other day. They have their primary estate and trusted planning service that is part of that subscription. But then there is a slight buy-up if you need a fully customized solution for special needs or things like that. So they have those options available for you. When it comes to estate planning, a lot of these tools are going to be very beneficial when you're looking at the financial planning side, making sure your clients have those documents in place. They separate that legal advice side off of you and put it on these companies that have teams of lawyers that are going through creating those documents. And then even with the larger ones, Wealth and Vanilla, they have attorney networks across the country in all 50 states that if your client wants to speak with an attorney, they can connect them directly with somebody in their local state.
Matt,
Yes.
quick question. I'm just, are Wealth and Vanilla the same company or different?
They are different, but they are, even talking to them, they are each other's top competitors. So they work very similarly on that kind of advanced estate planning side. They have different attorney networks. They have kind of different templates that they go through by default. But really they are very similar in the functionality and the tools that they provide. Vanilla, I have them submitted to get added. It is justvanilla.com. And they are one of the two. So Vanilla is going a little bit more into some of the AI review of tools, the AI reporting of those estate plans to really help you visualize a lot of that and build out visual estate plans, creating flexible so you can see different scenarios and building those out. They even have within their AI tools, you can type in a general plain language what if scenario, and it will create that for you within the estate plan. So you can see minor changes and how that would affect that estate plan. So they are more on the estate meets financial planning side, where they give you some more of those additional tools. Outside of what we have for estate planning tools or any of the other tools in our business management resources section, another good page to be aware of out here is under business resources and third-party vendor information security review. Down here in the bottom right is going to be a list of all of the security reviewed software that Cambridge has reviewed. So this is a full list of what has completed our review process here for vendor due diligence. It is not an entire list of everything we are looking at. So this is a fairly long list. If I just scroll through here, I will let you know that our vendor due diligence review queue is currently at 70 plus additional tools to review and add to this list. So lots of options for anything you're looking at, from the estate planning to the AI solutions to financial planning, CRMs, all of the tools you use in your office.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
I might be jumping the gun, but how about anything on student loan repayment?
Student loan repayment. I don't know that we have a lot of solutions on that. We do have collegiate funding solutions. And
Just where the question comes from, a lot of 401k record keepers are coming out with stuff like, I know T. Rowe Price has a relationship with like SoFi, and so just to help.
yeah, we don't have anything really at this time outside of the collegiate funding solution, which is going to be more on the education college planning side. I know they have some information on the repayment, but they're really more focused on the pre-college versus avoiding student loan debt, as they put it here, versus the repayment of it. I know that is something that we're looking at, is what tools are missing from this. Student loan repayment, I would say, is one of those that we have a gap in, but we are looking into that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Matt, going back to the estate, considering we're up to like 5 or 6 different options, has Cambridge put out any pieces about, like maybe pros and cons of each, or what you would get with each of those pieces, or are there recorded webinars on the site where we can go and maybe take a look and view, or is it going to be they're going to kind of have to read up and demo, these different options?
As of right now, it's going to be a read up and demo these different options. Like I said, we've added most of these within the past year. I know those are the things my team is working on, is going through and creating some documents to compare some of these. It's not something we have available yet, though.
All right, thanks, Matt.
And then the last kind of topic that we had discussed previous, Sebastian, was the integrations that are available at Cambridge. So I know it was mentioned earlier on here, and I got logged out, so let me log back in real quick. Is the integrations we have available. So we have integrations available through CLIC Advisor. I know somebody on the call mentioned, I think it was you, Sebastian, that Precise FP was listed on there now. So we've added quite a few new integrations through the CLIC Advisor system. So we've had the Morningstar, the Nitrogen, the Red Tails, and Wealth Boxes, but we've added some additional ones here as well. So we have Advice Pay now, Fidelity, Precise FP, Schwab, SEI. A lot of integrations to pull information into that financial planning if you are using the CLIC Advisor system. And then the client information from here will transition over to CLIC. Now, if you're using Redtail as the one that we have available right now, We are working on others, but we do have Redtail directly into CLIC. So we do have a direct integration to sync from CLIC to Redtail and from Redtail to CLIC. So it will go both directions. It does pull additional information. So going through eMoney, you're pulling name, address, phone number, email address, and date of birth. Just the five of the basic data points. If you go directly from Redtail to CLIC, you're also pulling social security number, marital status, affiliations, citizenship, their identification. So whether that be their driver's license or a government issue ID, it's pulling more of that information for you, and we are working on advancements for this to pull more of the suitability information as well. But that direct-to-click will pull more information. We're also working on a wealth box integration for CLIC as well, as the Precise FP and a few others were kind of in the early research stages of. So lots of options to reduce that multiple data entry for you. We also have, from the other integration side, we have our CIR Connect, which this is the Allbridge connection. There is a fee for it. It is $30 a month for one software, $40 a month for two or more. And what this does, it allows you to connect CIR statements or that Allbridge connection into any of the other softwares you're using. So whether that is your CRM just to see the account information, your financial planning tools, research tools like Morningstar, and share that account information that they have for those accounts at Cambridge into those systems so you're not having to manually transfer all of that data over. So I know I went through a lot pretty quickly, but are there any questions, any other tech topics you've heard about, or anything else from Sebastian or anybody else on the call?
I have a question, Matt, about the CLIC Advisor integration. So, like, I have to go back and look, but I don't think we're integrating our wealth box with CLIC Advisor. Do I, or say, like I know we have advisors, maybe not on the call, but definitely in the group that have assets at SCI or Schwab. Do they have to worry if they're going to turn on those integrations? Do they have to worry about duplication? Like, for instance, the client's already in CLIC and they're already in Allbridge, so the information's feeding in. Then, if they add an integration to say, SCI or Schwab, they're not going to have to worry about duplication, do they? Is it more just so you can access that system while you're in CLIC Advisor? Is that what it's for?
So there's a couple pieces to it. It will depend on the options you click when setting up that integration. So all of those integrations are going to give you the option to sync account information that could cause duplicates. So you just want to make sure. So if I go into the Redtail one here, when I go to turn on the integration for my clients, it's going to give me the option of, do I want to link accounts? By default, it should select no for you. So that's going to give you that it's not going to pull any information from Redtail. It's going to use the information that's already in there. And really what that's doing is that's syncing the client information, not account data, but just the basic client information. And then it is also giving you the ability to come in and single sign on directly into those systems. So there's kind of two parts to it. The other side that we see, there are going to be, if you have any accounts that aren't feeding through Allbridge, those are where some of those connections can come in, where you actually pull that information in. But if it's already syncing into the system for CLIC Advisor, you're not going to want to pull it again. That could lead to some duplicate information. But it also gives you that ability just to single sign on. So if I'm in CLIC Advisor, I don't have to keep re-signing into Redtail. I can just click directly there if I don't already have it open.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and similarly with or Wealthbox will work the same for CLIC Advisor. Right now with the direct to Redtail, if you have that set up, you'll actually see Redtail in the sidebar of CLIC, and you can single sign on from CLIC into Redtail. And then, as I mentioned, we're working on the Wealthbox option for that as well.
Anybody else? Questions for Matt?
And if you don't have questions now, feel free to reach out to me or my team. As Sebastian mentioned, I work with Jim Silvers. We also have Sasha Boozman on our team. Any of the three of us would be happy to set up a one-on-one consultation and talk through more of these specifically to how they fit your office, and have that more in-depth conversation of what you're currently using, how that compares to some of these options more in a detailed and office-specific conversation as well.
Okay. All right. If no other questions, we'll give everybody 10 minutes back. My takeaway is I have some homework to do on some of these estate planning tools. So thank you for presenting and showing us the options here, Matt. But with that, we'll sign off here. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Matt, for presenting, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day and your week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.